Hi folks, it's Dasher Dave here again. Okay, so this is part 3 of the leather project, the faux leather. Don't sing, Dave. This is the project that we were doing before, where we were making faux leather from pieces of cardboard. So this is the final stage. So all of this is now dry. So we inked it. We made it leather-like. We inked it. We embossed it. We inked it again to take it. So we highlighted the embossing. And then the final bit was I left it to dry. Okay, so this is well and truly dry, because although I thought I was going to do it the next day, we're like 3 weeks later. We're now post-Christmas, because this is the only time I've got now. So like now Christmas is done, I'm kind of free and I'm off work until the 11th of January. So this is it. So without further ado, this is where we are. So these are all the pieces, okay? So what we're going to do now is we're going to make them look more leathery by giving them a buff, okay? So we're going to make them a bit shinier, etc. So there are 2 ways you can do this. The first way, and the way that I have, being honest with you, I have always traditionally used, is by using this, which is Crafter's Companion Spray and Shine. It's basically just a high gloss varnish in a spray form, but it's designed for paper crafts. So this is it. Okay, I don't know whether it's still available. This was £1.99 when I bought it. It's probably about £17.50 now. So I'll just leave that on camera for a few minutes so you can kind of take a note of what that is. However, the way I was trying to think, well, what about if people can't get hold of this? What if you're overseas and you don't live in the UK and this isn't easy to get hold of, or the spray varnish that you can get hold of is too stiff and rigid? I'll show you what it looks like when you use it. So half of this half has been done with the spray and shine, and this half is obviously just natural the way it was before, and you can see it gives a glossy finish to it. I'll be honest with you, it does give it a feeling of it's got something on it. It makes, for me, it makes it less tactile. It makes it less leathery feeling. Okay, so I thought, well, if it was leather, how would we polish leather? Well, we'd use, well, you wouldn't necessarily use a shoe polish, but you use a wax polish. Now, this is just a natural wax polish. The burn isn't to like remove the brand, because it doesn't matter what brand it is. It's just because I always heat mine up, and I'll show you that in a second. And this is just a neutral, which means it's a clear wax. And this is the one I did in the clear wax. Now, I actually prefer that feeling. It feels like leather because it feels like shoes do. It feels like bags and belts and all of that. They're all buffed with some kind of a wax product. And this will actually give it a bit more of a resilient coating. This has, it feels like it over time it would crack and peel off, whereas this won't. You can just rebuff this. The inside I've left. Okay, so I like the look of that compared to that. If you can see the difference, that has a sheen, whereas that has a shine. A sheen and a shine. Okay, so what I'm going to do is we're going to spray this one. We're going to finish doing this one in this, okay, and we'll do that bit first. So I'm going to move these out of the way, okay, and we're going to bring the spray box in. Nearly brought the chocolate box in rather than the spray box, okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to lie this in here, and that piece of paper was only masking half of it when I was spraying before. Okay, just going to lie it in there, and hopefully you can see that. And then I'm standing up for this bit, so all you need to do is you need to spray, you need to waft backwards and forwards, and you need to spray. Don't spray too close, okay? You're not graffitiing a wall, you're creating a shine. So in slow movements, well, not slow, but steady, even movements. Good shake. Across. Now, the thing is, if you dip it up like that, it stops coming out. So, it's not very nice, I will say. It's not very pleasant. I do have a window open, but you're still going to get waftage. Okay. I'm just going to turn the box around because it's easier. I can't turn around because there's a wall there. Now, when you've done that, you'll need to leave it for 30 minutes before you touch it because it'll be tacky. Okay. So, put the lid back on, and I didn't spray too much on this side because that had already been varnished. So I'm going to move this. Now this is a spray box. This is just an old box. Doesn't matter what you use, just to stop it from going everywhere. Because trust me, it will go everywhere. So everything will be sprayed and shined to death. So let's bring these back in while that's drying. So where are we with these? So that's the piece that I've finished. And then these are the other pieces. Now, if you're going to do this, you can use a brush, okay? Now, I used to polish my shoes with a brush. However, because I use it on brown, I don't want to put brown polish on here. I want to use neutral. So, I've opened the tin. Now, if anybody knows anything about this is dangerous to do. So don't do this unless you're confident. This is an old bit. Oh, this, you can see how much I've used of this. And I use this on shoes and all sorts of things. But if this is a new polish, it'll be quite soft. You know, it's the solvents in it won't have evaporated over time. Now, this has had its solvents evaporated over time because it's old. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to light it now. Do not do this if you aren't confident. Do not do this if you are under the age of 18. Do not do this if you aren't great with fire. Just use the wax as it is or buy a new tin and you won't need to do this at all. Okay, so I'm only doing this because it's too soft. Now, too hard. So all I'm doing is I'm lighting it. Now, because it's got solvents in it, it will catch and it will stay lit. Okay. But what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to melt it down a bit. Okay, so it'll stay lit, and then to put it out, all I do is I use a lid, the lid. Okay, because it's solvents, that's what you can see burning off. I'm just going to put the lid on and just leave it on there for a few seconds. And what it'll do is it'll take all the oxygen out of there and it'll put the fire out. Okay, so there you go. Be careful when you take the lid off. If you take it off too soon, you might get a flash over, which is where it suddenly gets oxygen back in there. So, like I say, if you're not feeling confident, don't do that element of it. Just buy some new stuff. Don't be so cheap like Dave is and try to make all of this go as far as I possibly can. So now all I'm doing is I'm picking up a good coating on my finger, okay, and I'm going to move over to this. Now you don't want to push into it, because remember you've got an embossed surface, yeah, so you don't want to push into it. You just want to go over it. You get a bit of wax stuck somewhere, just rub it with your finger. If you're using a brush, it's going to be even better because it's going to get into all of the nooks and crannies that you want it to. And what you'll notice is it'll start to dull it down. Don't worry about that. You're putting this initial coating on. Yeah. So, again, rub your finger in it, Dave. Get that wax off. If it breaks up, yours probably won't break up because yours will be new and you won't have lit it like I did. Now, some of you might be saying, well, you should have done that off camera. Well, I did do it off camera, but then it re-solidifies. And then I wouldn't be able to show you this technique because I don't have any more of this at the moment. Not until I order some more. I'm trying not to do any ordering post-Christmas now because, well, you know, wages are committed to other things at the minute. I can't really say to my bank manager, I'm not paying my bills today because I bought some wax polish. So Anyway, so putting all of this onto here. Please, I know that I sound like I'm being like fatherly. Well, I am. I just don't want any of you to get hurt. Do not, and don't do it that on anything other than a glass mat or something that is a non-flammable surface. Okay, so just like if you were using an iron or anything that heats up, you have to be careful. You have to give yourself, you know, that space to say, look, you know, I can't do this. I'm not comfortable doing it. Then if you're not comfortable doing it, don't do it. That's what I say. So put that on there. Shake all the rest of it off. And then what I'm going to do is on a clean bit. Now all this is a microfiber cloth. I'm going to go over it. I'm going to give it a buff now. So I'm going to give it a buff. You know, try and keep it as flat as you can because it'll be easier to buff if it's flat. If you're using a brush, like I say, it'll be even better. However, that brush you won't be able to use for anything else, so that's why I'm not using any of my crafting brushes, because I don't want to have them waxed. Once they've got wax on, it's really hard to get it off. Things like bristles and that sort of thing. So that's why your shoe polish brushes should be kept for your shoes and nothing else. So now, once you've given it that initial buff, put it to one side, because it's much better, the same with shoes, if you buff them initially, put them to one side and you really let the wax dry out, so let those solvents evaporate from it. Yeah, it will then give you a much better finish. Dave's just wiped it all onto the floor. It's a good idea. Okay, and you can get it off your mat with another solvent, so just something like this is just alcohol spray, and this will take that off your mat, no problem. It'll get off your fingers as well. So okay, so I'm going to leave that to dry. So you can leave it just like this. So once it's done, and you'll get, it gives you a sort of a suede-y feel to it. Okay, and what do I use them for? I make little journal covers out of them. Yeah, you can use them as panels on books, you know, as a bookmarks. Whatever you want to do, you can do with these. Now actually I might give this one a buff as well. So Dave's just like, you know, once you close this lid, they give you this twisty thing on the side which is supposed to help you open the lid, but it only goes so far, and then you're on your own. Okay, heave. Okay, right, I'm just going to stop the camera and I'm just going to come back. I'm going to come back in a moment. Okay.